viewers, it's Cynthia. I am back with some more Christmas tags, and this time I decided to do some masking. So I've already stamped the presents, which I want to be in the foreground, and I cut the little masks just to fit over the presents, and I'm not going to worry about the strings on top. So now I'm going to stamp the Christmas tree, and I want it between those two presents, but a little bit higher. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp them right on top of the masks. And I'm using my stamper's pad so that I get a nice clear stamp. And then I'm actually using contact paper. I couldn't find my actual masking paper, so I just used the contact paper and it worked just fine. So here they are. Now I'm going to pull off those masks, and then you can see that now it looks like the presents are sitting in front of the tree. So I was really pleased with the way that turned out. And all of these stamps are from the My Favorite Things Santa's Elves stamp set. So I was just putting those masks on the back of the packaging so I could keep them for the future. So now I'm going to do some Copic coloring, and I'm using two different greens. And the first one I'm using here is what? It's the G17. So those are going to be my darker colors. And I'm just kind of doing every other section. And then I will come back. Oh, I guess I will finish the third tag first. Now I don't end up using all four of them. I tried a different coloring technique on the fourth one, and it was pretty, but it was very, very time consuming. So now here I come. Actually, I started out with the YG09, so I apologize, that was the lighter color. Now here comes the G17, which is the darker green. And so I'm just going to fill in every other area. And I wanted, since I was making so many tags, I just wanted to do some really basic coloring. So I'm pretty much just filling in with a solid color, and then I'll come back and do some shading with some grays. So that's a little trick if you don't have a whole bunch of Copic markers and, you know, 3 or 4 different shades of each color. You can just use gray. So now I'm coloring the trunks there. And I believe that's E59. And I'm going to come in and color the star with Y13. And I'm not too concerned about the stars because I'm actually going to cover them with stickles as well, so that I have a nice shiny star. So for these presents, I'm actually doing PL5, which is a Spectrum Noir marker. I don't have a lot of purple Copics, so I went ahead and bought the Spectrum Noir purple set. Here's RV06, which is a beautiful pink, and then I'm using RV55 as a slightly darker tone, or excuse me, lighter tone. And then for the blue, I am using B04. And I'll end up using some stickles on those as well. So here I'm using W1, W3, W5, and just doing some simple shading with that. And once all 3 of those are colored, I'm just going to fussy cut them out, which is actually quite easy with my new little Fiskars trimmers here. They're a very comfortable scissor to use. Makes it a lot faster and easier. And then here's that stickles, and it's one of the clears. It doesn't have a name on it, but it's just a clear, sparkly stickles. So I'll set those aside to dry, and now here come the elves. And I colored the elves with all the same inks, but but the first thing I wanted to do, I'm actually going to do a little bit of paper piecing. So he's holding a present, and what I'm doing is I'm using my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I am quickly stamping out right on top of the pattern paper, and again I'll just trim out those simple squares. Not going to worry about the string on the package. And I'll just trim them out as close to that black line as I possibly can. And then I'm just going to use my tape runner and attach them like that. So then you end up with this really cute little wrap package. It has a little more personality than just a solid color. And for the skin, I used E01. And again, all the elves will be colored this way. And there's R22 for the blush. And now I'm doing a little shading with that W1, which is the very lightest. And his hair is E55. And all of the jingle bells and buttons are done in the Y08, which I believe is called lemon yellow. And now the green that I'm using for all the different clothes is YG09. And that red and that green just makes such a perfect Christmas combination. So now for this, I'm using the darkest of my grays, which is the W3. So on that red and green, it needs something darker. And again, I'm just going to use my little trimmers and fussy cut these out. And it takes just a little bit of time, just because I wanted to be careful. And I'm obviously leaving a little white edge all the way around. And even though it's not perfect, it really doesn't matter. You don't focus on the white, you're just looking at the elf. So again, I just used a little stickles on the jingle bell and the buttons, and now here's a different style of elf. And again, the same flesh tone there, the same blush color, same hair tone, and there's that same green again. So all their little outfits are the same. Green shirts, red and white pants, red and white hat. It just makes it so much easier to do all the same colors. So a little bit of shading. And even if I didn't record it, I did add, see, there we go, a little bit of that lightest shading on the white as well. There's that same blue again, B04. Stickles on the buttons, the bell, and now the ornament. And I started to cut him out because I was so eager to get it trimmed out, but then I realized my stickles was wet, so I had to set him aside. And here's the third little style of elf. And this little guy, again, same skin. He'll have the same blush, the same hair, same clothes. I did make one small mistake on this little guy, and you'll see in a minute. When I was coloring his shirt, I accidentally colored his cuff green. It's supposed to be white. So now I did the same paper piecing with the stocking because I didn't want to do a solid color. So I'm using a piece of the Doodlebug paper, and again I just stamped out, trimmed it out, and now I'm just going to stick it down. And now you have a decorated stocking. And to add some more color, I made the heel and the toe red. See, I had to do the other cuff in green. Now I'm using a different green for the holly leaves. I used YG23, so it would stand out against his green clothes. Here's some more shading with the W3. And then I also wanted to be sure to put shading on that pattern paper as well, because that little detail just helps really blend it in with all the other colors and shading that you've done everywhere else. So again, I'm just hand trimming him out. And then I'm going to put that stickles on the bell and the berries this time. So here are the bases, and for this I used my MFT stitched tag stacks dies, and I'm using the second largest die for that white base and the third largest for the pattern papers. And then this is the to and from stamp from the gift card greeting stamp set, and this is a piece of the Doodlebug Designs Home for the Holidays collection. I used my 6x6 pad to do all the pattern papers. And then here's my We Are Memory Keepers hole punch to make a hole in the tag. And I'm going to glue down each little elf. So he's going to go on that candy paper. And I'm doing all three the same. So all three of the same elves will go on three of the same bases. And now here's this little elf with the present, and I used this chevron stripe paper for him. And I only had enough of that paper to make one. I loved that pattern, but I only had one little piece. So the other ones I did in red. And then this paper is beautiful. It's very, very glittery with those pretty snowflakes. So each one of the little stocking elves is going to be on the glitter paper. So I just want to get that centered the best I can. Punch that little hole. All right, so my final step is to take my big spool of red and white twine, and I cut two 12-inch pieces, and I'm going to put the ends together, find the center, feed it through the hole, split the loop open, and pull all the ends through. Now you have plenty of twine here to tie your tag onto whatever gift you choose. So I'm going to lay out all the tags that I made. So there will be a full dozen tags that I have made. So good job. So I hope you enjoyed your time. I had to condense this quite a bit and do one of those voiceovers that I don't like doing, but that's okay, because believe me, that I literally had probably close to 2 hours worth of footage in all these bits and pieces, so I had to condense everything and try to make it into some sort of a cohesive and concise video. So hopefully I achieved that. So thank you so much for sitting with me. I appreciate it. This is going to be my final project for holiday 2016, so I hope you had fun through the series, and I will be back again with a whole new set of videos soon. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.